Commanders fans, breaking news. I'm a little late here. It happened about an hour and a half ago, 2 hours ago. Cameron Cheeseman has now been released. Rightfully so. It's about darn time. I mean, this guy's been botching snaps since last year. And Ron Rivera traded up for Cameron Cheeseman, which is just awful, man. It really is. The fact that he spent a 6th-round pick on a long snapper. If I was I would never draft a long snapper. I'm sorry, I would never draft a special teams. I would never draft like a kicker or a long. I just can't do it. I'm sorry, I would never do that. Just using a roster spot or a draft pick on a long snapper and a kicker, I just can't do it. And Ron Rivera, he was arrogant about it in the press conference too. Like he traded up for a long snapper. I remember they asked him about it, and this was when Ron was on his high horse after making the playoffs in 2020 when we sneaked into the playoffs being 7-9. And he was pretty arrogant about it in his press conference. He was like, yeah, I traded up for a long snapper. What are you going to do about it? Basically, that was kind of energy he was giving in the presser. But Cheeseman, the fact that he's responsible for basically getting Tressway or putting Tressway in harm's way to be injured and tackled. Our punter should never be getting tackled anyway. Putting him in that situation is just inexcusable. That's a fireable offense. He deserved to be cut. He's going to be cut. Cut the cheese. I had to say it at least once. Cut the cheese. You just got to say it when you talk about Cameron Cheeseman. Cut the cheese. And we had Nick Sundberg, who was old as crap before they drafted Cheeseman. But Nick Sundberg still had a couple years left in him. He probably could have stayed a couple more years. But, Ron Rivera was ready to move on so quickly and draft Cameron Cheeseman. But you look at the draft class, too. Cam Cheeseman, William Bradley King, Shaka Toney, Dax Milne, De'Ami Brown's in that class. Ben St. Juste is in that class, too. Jamin Davis, 1st-round pick. Probably like a C class at best, a C draft class. John Bates can't catch anything, but he's a good blocker. Derek Forrest is probably the best, one of the better picks in that class. Him and Sam Cosmi, that's about it. But and then not only did you put Tressway in harm's way, you botched the snap again where the block gets freaking kicked. And he botches that where we still had somewhat of a chance to be in the game. And people were like, Ron should have went for it too. It's kind of like, yeah, I guess you should have if you have a long snapper that can't freaking snap a football. That's how bad Cheeseman was, that he snapped it so low, messed up the timing, and Joey Slye got his kick blocked. Got his kick blocked at the end when it was a time, when it was somewhat still competitive. It would have been 21-28, and the kick was blocked. So it was time. It's time for Cheeseman to go. You look at Ron Rivera, you read his lips, and that thing happened. He said it's time, and I think that was him saying it's time for Cameron Cheeseman to be fired and let go and cut. And Ron Rivera will be fired after the next 3 games, but I can't wait. I'm gonna be super excited. There was a fake post on Twitter, like Adam Schefter saying that the GM and the Commanders are parting ways with Ron Rivera and the GM. They almost got me for a second. They had me in the first half. I almost had it. I was like, oh man, I gotta make a video. I gotta go live, all this stuff. But that is false. But Cheeseman, this move needed to happen. Like I said, I don't want to make a long video on cutting Cameron Cheeseman. Nikki Javala, I think she tweeted out that, Ron Rivera in his presser said that they are working out long snappers. Of course, they got to sign one pretty soon before the game on Sunday. One of the notable guys, I mean, who really cares what the guy's name is? But they tried out a couple long snappers, and they're going to bring some more guys in to try out for the game on Sunday against the New York Jets. Ron said, we have a short list and we're working off of that. So I don't want to see the new regime draft a punter or a long snapper. There's no need to use that in trading up for a long snapper. You could have used that draft capital on something else, traded up for like a speedy running back or something like that. We don't really have a speedy running back. That's something we need. There's so many needs. Like, we're adding on to the long list of needs. Now we need a long snapper. We need a quarterback. We need a quarterback. Now we need a long snapper. We're just a lot of things we're going to need really coming up. The whole offensive line, except for Cosmi, probably is going to be overhauled. So just a lot of needs, and now we're adding long snapper to the list of needs. So I'm going to need a coach and a GM, of course, as well. Just a complete overhaul of the roster almost coming up next year. So, all right, you guys, let me know what you guys think about the move. It's a move that needed to happen for sure. And Cameron Cheeseman, I wish him the best. We'll see if he plays in the Canadian Football League or the XFL, USFL, anything like that. I don't see him really getting an opportunity like that again. I mean, you look at his film, you look at it on tape, and all you're going to see is just botched snap. And he's the one, he changed his snap. He changed the spin of the ball or something like that. Now he's throwing basketball bounce passes. And it was something we saw in the preseason. And Ron Rivera could have addressed it way earlier in the season. Like, he had opportunities to address it and bring in another long snapper, but he brought guys to try out. He stays really loyal to his guys. Like Dustin Hopkins, he was loyal to him for a little bit. They finally released him. Brought in Chris Blewett, who was a terrible kicker. He just made terrible decision after bringing in kickers. Finally brought in Joey Sly. He's been pretty loyal to Joey Sly as well. And but he's loyal to his guys to a fault at times. And this is the time where when Cheeseman said he changed up his snap and whatnot, was playing around with the snap, changing it up and fooling around with it, he should have cut him right then and there. You don't fool around and change stuff like that, you know, because you're messing with people's jobs, you know, making it hard for Joey Sly, making it tougher for Tressway. But all right, guys, hail the Commanders, peace.